Okay, the last movie I'm reviewing this week is After.Life, and much like the recurring theme of this week's show, it's a very talented cast in a movie that leaves so much to be desired. And actually, scratch that, it leaves everything to be desired. But because this movie is just downright awful. This is the type of movie that could have been maybe passable for an episode of The Outer Limits or The Twilight Zone. But I just don't get what was going on, or what they were trying to make happen here. Now, the whole thing here is that a young woman wakes up in a funeral home. Or does she? She is played by Christina Ricci, who I've loved in several movies, even since her days as a child actor in the Addams Family films. Now, the funeral director is played by the great Liam Neeson. Now, he explains to her that she did die, but has the ability to talk to people on their way to the other side or whatever, and she doubts him. I don't blame her, because Neeson just looks downright creepy in this film. But not creepy in the sense where it's affected the film, just creepy in a sense like, why is he even, why would anybody hire this guy? But anyway, he did well in Chloe earlier this year, but has failed miserably 3 times now this year with this film, and as well as Clash of the Titans and the A-Team. Now, this is just complete dretch, and while he wasn't what I'd call terrible in those films more than he was just miscast in there, this was his worst performance, I think, in his great career. The only thing that scared me about this so-called suspense horror film was that I could have been doing something else at the time. That's the only thing that scared me, and I'm still scared thinking about it. Now, this film is marred by its flaws, and plus the fact that it's also repetitive and trying to make whatever point it was trying to make. For a movie so repetitive, it still never made its point, whatever. Maybe I just missed it, I don't know. Ricci's boyfriend is played by Justin Long, another very talented actor in his own right. But yet, he gets involved and walks through here in this film, and the parts he has, and basically because he has nothing. If he had taken his time to really think this through, and also not have, Neeson just Nicolas Cage in here, and I'm talking about the filmmakers, just to really think this through, Neeson's totally Nicolas Caging it, there might have just been something substantial here without shortchanging us all. The premise is interesting, and also the confines of this film, and by that I mean the setting and the overall atmosphere of it, are just that. They look confining, they look suffocating. It just doesn't seem to have any breathing room, and this film suffocates us as a result, with everything that it's trying to do. Sometimes I just laugh at how bad a film is like this, such as Legion, which was just plain, but this was just plain sad. Much like the last year's film Limits of Control, which was directed by Jim Jarmusch, and which was one of the absolute worst films last year, which featured top-notch performers, no doubt about it, in a story that tried to be something, but even ended up being less than nothing. As a matter of fact, nothing would have been an improvement. And quite frankly, that's what this film does too. I cannot believe that anyone looked at this film, its script, and editing room, and thought that, this would be lauded as a great piece of work. Well, I'll laud it all right. I'll laud it as being a great big piece of garbage. This film and its makers and, and its actors and everybody, they should be ashamed of themselves. Now, on a side note, however, I should point out that this doesn't count as one of the summer movie failures, because this movie actually came out months ago, but I just never got a chance to really see it. I only saw it about a week ago. But I kind of wish I didn't. I kind of wish I just did completely skip it. Now, I give this film, of course, you know it, the great big 0, and that is it, thankfully, for this week's edition of Bill Chase in the Movies. Next week, I'll be back with The Expendables, a highly anticipated action film featuring many of the 80s action stars as well as some modern ones, too. Mixed together, it's a project done by Sylvester Stallone, which has caused a lot of hype. Also, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, starring Michael Cera, Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts, The Disappearance of Alice Creed, and more. That's it for this week's edition of Bill Chase in the Movies. I will be back next week. And join a Facebook group, Bill Chase in the Movies. It's spelled just the way it is up there. And until next week, I am Bill Chase, and I will be at the movies. Goodbye, everybody.